Tonight, we're venturing into places. Tonight, we're venturing into places where the familiar world peels back to reveal a nightmare. This is the Monster Edition, and you're about to hear 3 stories so terrifying, they'll make you question what's real. We're journeying to the frozen forests of Finland, a quiet apartment in Seoul, and a remote Canadian lake. Each location holds a secret, a horror waiting to be discovered. Prepare yourselves. The things we're about to uncover aren't just stories, they're warnings. Our first stop is Lapland, Finland, deep in the frozen northern forests. It's 4:23. AM. 2 hikers are miles from civilization, filming in the pre-dawn darkness. The air is still, but the forest isn't dark. A strange, deep orange haze hangs between the trees, and it's not a light, it's a vibration, something you feel in your bones. Then they hear it. A sound so immense it feels impossible. A low, rhythmic breathing, echoing for miles, as if the entire forest is a single, sleeping long. The first hiker, camera shaking, points it toward the sound. As they cautiously move closer, the world around them begins to warp. The ancient pine trees don't just sway, they bend inward, pulled by a force they can't see. The breathing grows louder, more guttural, and then they see it. The ground between 2 massive trees doesn't tremble or crack like an earthquake. It splits open slowly, deliberately, like a mouth waking from a long slumber. The rich soil peels back, and the thick roots of the trees stretch and pull, snapping like tendons. Inside this earthy maw, something is moving. It's not an animal. It's not a human. From the darkness of the opening, a huge, pale limb pushes upward. The skin is stretched taut, almost translucent, revealing the unsettling structure beneath. It has fingers, long and slender, but they're jointed all wrong, bending in directions they shouldn't. The breathing becomes a hungry, wet sound right beside them. Panic finally takes over. The hikers turn and run, but their escape is a nightmare. The forest itself seems to be rearranging, trees twisting and shifting, their branches interlocking to block every path, herding them back toward the opening. Only one hiker made it out alive. When he finally stumbled into a police station, delirious and frostbitten, his story was frantic, almost incoherent. He said, "The forest wasn't hiding something, it was feeding something." His friend was never seen again, but his camera was recovered near the site. The final moments of the recording are almost entirely black, filled with the sounds of snapping branches and panicked screams. But just before it cuts out, one more sound is captured, a deep, guttural whisper that seems to come from the earth itself. It says, "Open wider." Now, we travel to Seoul, South Korea, to a modern apartment building where a family's life is about to unravel. 4 days, they'd been hearing strange scratching noises from below their floor. They dismissed it as rats, or maybe a stray cat that had gotten into the building's infrastructure. It wasn't. At 3:11 a.m., their home security camera, set up in the living room, captures movement. Something is emerging from the basement door, which they always keep locked. It's not walking. It's not running. It's crawling. The motion is grotesque, unnatural. It moves on all 4s, but its elbows bend backwards, like a bird's legs. Its head is so heavy that it drags along the polished wooden floor, leaving a faint, damp trail. It scuttles into the center of the room, and for a moment, it pauses. Then, it slowly lifts its face toward the camera's small, blinking light. The footage glitches, distorting into a pixelated mess, but for a single, horrifying frame, the image is clear. It has no eyes, just smooth, pale skin where they should be. Its jaw is split down the middle, opening far too wide, and from this broken mouth, a long, muscular tongue, moving like a prehensile arm, reaches forward, tasting the air. Suddenly, the creature moves with terrifying speed. Its limbs, bending like broken sticks, propel it across the floor and straight up the wall. It scurries across the ceiling, defying gravity, its claws leaving deep gouges in the plaster. A sound emanates from each layered, clicking whisper that chills you to the core. The words are distinct. Found. You. The family, woken by the noise, flees upstairs, barricading themselves inside the master bedroom. The security footage continues to record. The creature methodically approaches every closed door in the hallway. It doesn't try the knobs. Instead, it presses its eyeless face against the wood, its split jaw working as it sniffs intently along the seams, searching. Just 10 minutes later, police arrive responding to a frantic 911 call. They burst into a scene of silent chaos. The apartment is empty. The creature is gone, but the evidence of its visit is everywhere. Deep scratches mar the doors. The walls are dented, as if something incredibly heavy was thrown against them. The furniture is shredded, torn apart with brutal force. And on the outside of the bedroom door where the family had hidden, the police find one final, terrifying clue. A handprint. It's not human. It's not symmetrical. It has 6 long, thin fingers. The family was never seen again. Our final destination takes us to the remote wilderness of British Columbia, Canada. A group of experienced campers set up their tents near a serene, isolated mountain lake, famed for its crystal-clear water. But as night falls, the tranquility is broken. They begin to hear a sound they can't explain, a slow, heavy inhale that seems to last for a full minute, followed by an even heavier, longer exhale. The sound is so deep and resonant, it feels like the lake itself is alive and breathing. They're unnerved, but try to rationalize it as wind or some strange echo. At dawn, the phenomenon becomes visual. A thick fog rises from the water, but it doesn't drift aimlessly. It forms a perfect, massive circle in the center of the lake, rotating slowly, clockwise. One of the campers, a drone enthusiast, sends his device up to get a better look. The drone's camera captures the rotating fog, then zooms in on the water below. And that's when it sees it. Something enormous is moving just under the surface. It's not a fish or a log. It's a spine, a colossal, curving spine, each individual vertebra the size of a human torso, undulating in the deep. The water begins to bulge upward, stretching like a thin membrane as the thing beneath it pushes against the surface. Then, with a surge of displaced water, a shape breaks through. It's not a head. It's not a fin. It's something far worse. A perfect ring of teeth, each one long and sharp, rotating like the gears of a monstrous clock. This circular mouth opens wide, and from within its dark, gaping interior, dozens of pale, human-like hands push outward, their fingers writhing and grasping as if begging for release, or pulling something in. At that exact moment, a piercing scream echoes across the entire valley, but the sound didn't come from any of the campers. The drone's microphone recorded it coming from inside the lake. The final drone footage is chaotic. It shows the lake's surface rising higher and higher, the water churning violently as something impossibly huge begins to stand up from the depths. Then, the signal cuts out. When search and rescue teams arrived, they found a deserted campsite. Tents, gear, food all left behind. The campers were gone. All police ever recovered was the drone, washed up on the shore, its memory card miraculously intact. The official report vaguely stated the campers likely fell victim to a large predatory animal. But the creature captured in that footage did not look like any animal known to science. The forest mouth, the basement crawler, the breathing lake. 3 separate events, thousands of miles apart, yet disturbingly similar. Each story features a creature that defies all known biology. Iachim bulbous and opening a mouth in the earth, a basement door, the surface of a lake. Each is preceded by a deep, unnatural breathing sound. In each case, people went missing, vanished without a trace, leaving behind only fragments of terrifying evidence. But the most chilling connection of all was discovered by audio analysts who examined the raw recordings from all 3 incidents. The hiker, has camera, the family's security system, and the camper's drone. Buried deep within the ambient noise of each file, they isolated the same faint, layered whisper, a voice that seems ancient and vast, speaking a single, ominous message. A message that ties these horrors together and hints at a much larger, awakening terror. The voice in all 3 recordings says, "It's waking." What is it? Are these creatures heralds? Or are they merely the first signs of something far greater and more terrifying stirring from its slumber? The mouths are opening, the world is breathing, and something is waking up. Thank you for joining us on this descent into the unknown. If you have the courage, follow us for more panoramic mysteries. Stay safe, and whatever you do, listen closely to the silence. Sometimes it isn't empty.